I'm going to show you how to build this voice to-do app that lets you record your voice, transcribes it, extracts to-dos from it, and then uploads those to-dos to Firestore. So let's just go ahead and get started. You're going to see that I've got a sapling project here. If you don't know what sapling is, it's my custom near vanilla framework that I built. It's built on top of Hono, so you have a really modern backend that everything, your API and everything is built on top of. Feel free to look at a previous video for that. So what I've done, all I've done in Firebase is created a new project. So go to console.firebase.google.com and make a new project. And what we're going to do is create a new web project here. Let's say web app. I'm going to register it. Cool. So we're going to copy this, continue to console. Let's say initialize the Firebase app with this. And this is Claude code that I have running, my current agent of choice for the most part. Config and paste. Okay. It should be able to read through the files, kind of see that there's an app.js file. That's most likely where it's going to put that. If it's not, then we can correct it. Okay, so let's stop it right there. The Firebase config should be on the client side. Use CDN imports. So again, Sapling is a buildless system. You don't really have to worry about your client-side code going through a build process or a bundler. Just kind of simplifies things as far as deployment and LLM usage and all those types of things. And I've thought about actually doing like a Firebase Sapling starter, so I don't have to do this one prompt or these couple of prompts. But once you sort of get a little bit of structure, the LLM can figure out pretty quickly the config and the way that those things should work. So don't ask again. We're gonna say, yep, that's good. So our script type module, it's gonna drop that into the base head. So that goes into the head of the document. That looks good. We've got our server running already. Console log to confirm. Okay. And so we just want to make sure that the project is running from Firebase. Yep, so Firebase initialized, and then we get our Firebase project. Cool. So now what we want to do is add Firebase Firestore support. And what we're going to do is go back over here to our Firebase console. Going to go to Firestore database. And that might take a second. Sometimes it takes a second to load. Create database. Going to do United States. Start in test mode. We want to be able to, like actually write to the database. In production mode, things are locked down, which we don't want to do. And obviously, just because this is a demo app, I'm going to leave things pretty open. But there we go. We've got Firestore on the back end supported. So let's say on the front end, add Firebase Firestore support. Now there's a couple ways that you could do this. You could go the voice format first, voice to transcription, and then saving that. What I'm going to do is just make sure that the Firestore connection is working. So the AI side is pretty simple. I want a simple form to write tasks to my Firestore, or let's say to-dos, because we're calling it voice to-dos, to my Firestore. Okay, let's go back and refresh. Firestore initialize, that looks good. So now Claude's going to get to work to understand a little bit more about the rest of the project. Components, to-do form, it's going to write that. it's using the same format that we have for our counter. So the counter, you have this function here that is just some HTML. And then the actual logic for that counter is inside static components and then counter.js. That looks good. Voice to dos. Okay, let's say test, add to do. To do added successfully. So if we go back and refresh Firestore, there we go. Completed false test text. Test again. There we go. Got another one. Test again. Sweet. So now we're going to hook up the Gemini side. So this is also pretty simple because of sapling and all of this config that is pretty much set up for you. We're going to create a .env file and go to Gemini underscore key, and let's do underscore API key. And we're going to go to ai.dev, and you're going to want to click get API key. So I've gone ahead and pasted that API key in the .env file, that Gemini API key. Now what we're going to do is actually get the Gemini API stuff set up. So let's do Dino. I just opened another terminal, add. We're going to do add npm at google/genai. So what we're doing there is we're making sure that the backend has access to Google's generative AI package. So let's go back and we're going to now go to the documentation. And inside of their documentation, they actually have a audio understanding. Let me see if I can find it. Audio understanding here on the left. And it makes it really simple for LLMs to understand with this example, getting a transcript, right? So what we're going to do now is we are going to set up the voice recorder. So let's go ahead, go back to Claude. And we're going to say, now I've installed at google/genai. Use this example for setting up a voice recorder that then passes the recording to Gemini for a transcription. That's all it needs to do right now. So paste in that chunk from get a transcript, right? So audio understanding and then get a transcript if you scroll down a little bit. And I'm making sure you're on JavaScript. That's our language that we're using. And we're gonna just paste that in, okay? Let's go back to Claude all the way to the bottom. Gemini 2.5 Flash should be good enough. We could maybe use Flash Lite. It's their newest, lightest weight model that they've released. And I would probably guess that it's just as good at most transcription tasks. Okay, that's great. Add transcription functionality using Gemini, update homepage to include voice recorder. You might be wondering why I'm using Dino too, if I default to Dino, just because it simplifies the tool chain. You don't have to set up a TypeScript compiler, you don't have to set up a formatter, you don't have to set up a lot of different things that are just included with Dino. And that's why it's my personal favorite, is that it just simplifies your entire setup. Because if you're using Dino, you get a lot of things out of the box. So let's go back to our server and refresh. Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me? Okay, so it got a recording. Transcribe with Gemini. Error transcribing audio. So I'm going to click Command-Shift-C or Control-Shift-C on Windows. And then we have console over here. Let's go ahead and see what... Okay, so failed, status of 500, transcription failed. Let's go back and look. Could not load default credentials. No audio file provided. I don't think it's using our Gemini API key. So right here. So API key and this is cursor being super helpful, dino.env. So we needed to make sure, looks like Claude skipped over it, but the Gemini API key that we set up is being passed in. That was a pretty simple fix. Now let's go back, let's refresh. Testing 1, 2. This is a recording of my voice. Getting this error transcribing. So this one is actually my fault. We needed to make sure in the dino.json that --env is included on that dev command, because Dino by default won't just read your env file. You have to explicitly tell it to use the env or the environment, right? So let's go and close our Dino server. We're going to start it again. So Dino task dev. Okay. Let's go refresh. Testing 1, 2. This is a transcription. Looks like there's some styling issues there. Transcribing. Okay. Well, let's clear that. Voice recorder. I want it to automatically transcribe after I stop the recording. So we're going to get rid of that transcribe with Gemini action that we need to take. But once we stop the recording, it should just hit that endpoint and transcribe. Cool. Now let's refresh. Testing 1, 2, testing. Transcribing. Cool. And then we can actually listen back to that, which is kind of nice. That's all inside of the browser. But that looks great. So testing 1, 2. Tell the model not to include things like timestamps or beep. So I'm noticing there we've got this beep thing in here. So it should understand that we've got an API endpoint. So it updated our prompt right here. Generate a clean transcript of the speech. Do not include timestamps, beep sounds, or any non-speech annotations. Okay, now let's try it. Refresh. Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me? Okay, sweet. So, and let's actually switch this to -lite, just a little bit cheaper model. Let's see how it does. How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Pretty good. So that's the cheapest model. And yeah, so 2.5 flashlight. Looks like it's transcribing great. So now what we're going to do is tell Claude, now that we have transcriptions, I want to take the audio transcription and use that result to pass to Gemini to extract to-dos from my text. So Claude's sort of seeing what we're doing with transcribing, and then it should also have the context of our to-do form and things. I don't know if it's going to go so far as making sure that it gets uploaded to Firestore quite yet, but we want to basically speak to it, it extracts to-dos, and I'm assuming it's just going to display them. Yeah, so update front end to display extracted to-dos. Okay. Things have been going pretty well so far, other than our hiccup with the .env file. Okay, after transcribing audio, it sends the transcription to Gemini to extract actionable to-dos, returns both transcription and to-dos. Front end displays the extracted to-dos in a blue container. Okay. Walk the dog, go get groceries, buy some milk. So it's transcribing, walk the dog, go get groceries, buy some milk. Okay, so we transcribed. Walk the dog and go buy groceries. Okay, so I just needed to refresh. Yeah, so extracted to-dos. That's great. Cool. So now let's actually automatically take the to-dos and upload them to Firestore. So you might be wondering, why am I using a database for this? Well, the idea is if it's not persisted in some way in a database, you wouldn't be able to go open this app that you built for yourself on your phone because it wouldn't be in the same state, right? So you want to have a database. Firestore is my personal favorite. That way you can go to your phone and you can look at the same to-dos that maybe you input on your computer on your phone. And Firestore, like I said, is my personal favorite for that. Okay, cool. Looks like it's pretty much done. Let's refresh. Oh, did it crash? Relative import. So it did crash. Maybe we can just restart the server. Okay, so it's trying to use Firebase admin. Okay, so the issue here is that it assumed that we wanted to use the backend to upload the to-dos to our Firestore, which we don't. So we actually want the automatic upload to happen on the front end. That way we don't have to set up Firebase admin on the back end. Okay, and it says it right here. If I just stop to take a look, added Firebase admin SDK imports and initialization, which we don't want to have to set up Firebase admin. So what we want to just keep it simple. The front end should be able to take what it got back from Gemini and then upload it to Firestore. That's pretty simple logic to put in there. And there you go. Save each to-do to Firestore. So it maps through them, goes through them, and says, let's upload each one of these. Okay, so let's refresh. Walk the dog, go get groceries, and call mom. Transcription complete. I think those are layered on top of each other. So let's actually go back to Firestore. So we had test again, go get groceries, source voice recording. So it even added in a source, which is cool. Walk the dog and call mom. Sweet. So now I want a to-do list view that shows me the to-dos in my Firestore collection. Set up real-time syncing as well. Cool. So it thinks it's going to put this on a different route or a different page. That's probably okay for now, just for testing things. Let's see what it comes up with. Pages, to-do list. For some reason, Claude is trying to add this Tailwind CDN, which we don't need. What we'll do is say, make the to-do list a component on the home page. We don't want another route. So it's kind of going to undo a lot of the work that it just did, but yeah, we don't want it to be on another route. We can refresh and see what that looks like, but it's not really what we want. We want to be able to have like just a little voice recorder in the bottom of the screen, click it, you talk to it, and then it saves those and uploads them to Firestore. And I could have been more explicit about that, right? I could have told it I want to see the to-do list on the home screen, on the main screen. So that's kind of on my part. LLMs need some direction. They need a lot of direction. But yeah, view to-do list. Okay. So now it's updating things. We got a to-do list.js. So that is using Firebase, Firestore. Cool. And that's what's cool about this is it's just vanilla JavaScript at the end of the day on the client. So there's not a lot of complexity here, right? Like this is initializing the to-do listener. So Firestore will update, the page will update when any changes are made. It's just a lot less complex than other frameworks out there. Cool. And there we go. We know it's working because we can see these here. To do updated, test, sweet. Let's delete those. And now if we go back, there we go. We have 3 already. Completed true, completed true. That's awesome. Cool. So we're really close now. Like this is working. Upload the video, edit the video, create a thumbnail. We'll stop. That's awesome. Yeah, create a thumbnail, edit the video, upload the video. So remove the manual form to create to-dos because we don't really need that anymore. Now we get to play with the design a little bit, but this is awesome. We have recording, transcription, extracted, and then the actual to-dos list. So let's work on the design a little bit, and I think that's it. Okay. Move the recorder to the bottom of the screen as kind of a floating button. We don't need to visually see the transcription or the extracted to-dos. We can add those back. Yeah, it doesn't need to know that. But we could add those back in the future if we needed to, or add a new feature. But yeah, all we wanted to do right now is just record, stop the recording, and add to my to-do list. Looks like it's pretty close. We can delete some of these old ones. And design obviously could be much, much better. But yeah, I mean, we've got a working prototype that does exactly what we want it to. So let's refresh. And my face was in the way, but there's a recording button. So the recording button in the bottom right. Post this video on YouTube and let's say get another subscriber. So subscribe below if you haven't. Subscribe below, get another subscriber, post this video on YouTube. That's sweet. So make sure you do this one, subscribe below. But yeah, we have a working prototype of voice to-dos. The last thing I'm gonna do is look for this little piece of text called my to-dos. I'm gonna copy and paste that. I won't spend an edit on deleting one line myself. We'll refresh. There we go. Voice to-dos, got a little waving hand. Actually, let's do one more fun one. Make the waving hand emoji a waving microphone. I know that's like a one Unicode, emoji fix, but yeah, so waving hand now becomes waving emoji. There's our little moving microphone. Post this video. Sweet. Post this video on X. Post this video on Instagram. There you go. We've got a voice to do app right here. So that's it from me, guys. We have a voice to do app. Hopefully that was helpful, that you could kind of see start to finish a true AI development vibe coding workflow that was vibe coding effectively, a voice to do app. So takes your voice, transcribes it, uploads it to Firestore, and now you have it in a database. You could go and deploy this website. Maybe you could go and deploy this website on Uncursor. I'm working on an import tool there where you could basically take one of these demos that I do on YouTube, get the final code and just import it, and you're off to the races. So obviously you probably want to put some security on this before you post it, but this is an actual voice to do app, voice AI to do's app. So yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.